Hello and welcome to my podcast. I begin every podcast with a bowl so that we can connect, find our center, and receive the insight from the podcast. So the purpose of this podcast is I have this fascination with what's under the silence in people, because I want to know what goes on underneath the surface. And like, I know that, how long have we known each other? 4 years or something, in and out in various situations, but I don't really know who you are apart from what I've created in my own head and how I felt you. So the first thing I wanted to know, and firstly thank you Tahlia for coming.
Thank you for having me.
Okay. I want to know who you are.
Oh.
Under the
Oh dear.
Exactly.
Is that a question?
Yeah.
Who am I? Wow, I wasn't prepared for that.
It makes me hot.
Hot and heavy. I feel like I'm a person that just leaves themselves to be interpreted by other people.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like I'm a light. I feel like I'm a spark. Is that arrogant to say that?
No.
I'm just a light. I try to have fun. I had a phone call on the way over here talking about how I get this feeling before I have to do before I do anything, whether it's radio or a podcast, that I will just show up and draw a blank and it would just be dead and dull, and that I will suck. And I feel like I used to have paralyzing anxiety and almost like throw up from that feeling, and now I know that I'm inherently, I guess, just a performative theatric person, just naturally. In fact, I have to try harder to maybe contain myself than I would have to try to be just entertaining.
Yeah.
So I can kind of now embrace that feeling of knowing that, like, even though I'm scared now, that it will be totally fine and fun and okay, and I'll just have fun.
Yeah. Do you feel like when the energy comes up that it's a bit like a train? Like it's I don't know, for me when I get going I get this buzz inside my body, and then all of a sudden it's just like boom, and it just keeps coming. Is that?
Yeah, it's all different. It manifests in different ways sometimes. But yeah, a train in the sense it's totally can be overwhelming and all-consuming sometimes, but I'm now in a place where I can acknowledge it and almost be excited to know that the relief will come.
Yeah.
Because if I let the feeling consume me and swallow me, and then I perform, even if other people like it and they think it's great, it won't be totally at its best.
Yeah.
And then afterwards, it can carry over afterwards. Like, I'll feel the inertia from that, where I'll be shaming myself for, like, I did a bad job and critiquing little parts, and then that will just flow into other areas of my life, and it's just not healthy. It's just not good.
No. So did you find, because you're in radio, but you're also a performer,
yeah,
from what I know, yeah. So did you find that it was your desire was so strong to do that you just worked out a way to overcome the anxiety, or was there something that you did, or you just showed up?
Wow, I feel like it's a combination of all of those, really. I've kind of just been drawn to those things, and even when I have forced myself to try and to stray from that path, I guess, I'll always find that really peculiar things would just happen to me, or I just, even in my interactions with people, I feel like being like a theatrical person is totally unavoidable unless you're just sitting in a shack by yourself with nothing to draw and nothing to write on, just in meditation, and even then you're dreaming. You can have crazy theatrical dreams. So I think it's just, you just embody it.
It's so funny you say that, because sometimes I'm with you and we're like having a conversation and then the theatrics will come up and I'm like, what do I do with that?
Yeah, it's just that. I don't know what to do with it either. It's just there.
It's so awesome. But for me, it kind of brings up this cool element in me where I feel like I'm an old woman, but then I'm with you and I'm like, hey, we're hanging and it's all really cool.
Kicking it with the kids.
Exactly.
I love that. That makes me really happy. That's one thing that I love to hear if from anyone either working with me or spending time with me, if someone says that I made them feel like fun or entertained, or I don't like know like the word for it, but just this good, happy dancing feeling, that just makes me so happy to hear that someone feels that way.
Yeah, it's contagious. It's really cool, and that's probably half the reason, because it's like, to me, you're the person in me that I've probably buried a little bit inside, or when I was young and I was really drunk would come out, or occasionally I'd go, okay, you know,
the party energy.
It starts to come out. And so it's not something that shows its face a lot. So yeah, it's nice. It's kind of like, champagne with extra bubbles.
Ooh, I'm so glad to bring that to the surface.
Exactly. No, it's really good. Yeah, so you are... Okay. So, what makes you tick? Oh, and also... what do I call you?
I feel like my stage name is Saatanaleerose, so anything like this, I guess, would be Satana. But call me whatever you feel drawn to. My name is Tahlia. On Facebook, it's Tintin. Some people call me Cowboy King. Some people call me Tin Banger. Is a new one that started coming up. So I really, whatever you feel.
Saatanaleerose, right?
Yeah.
Where did it come from?
So Satana is actually a Finnish profanity, is a swear word.
Oh yeah, nice.
And it means Satan. And originally when I was thinking my stage name, I was thinking of just calling myself Satan. And I told my mom, and I was like, wow, that makes me excited. I like that. And my mom was like, don't do that. That is so polarizing. I don't like it. And that was back when I was still letting go of the parts of me that would listen to other people. And I thought, okay, well, I was watching the Dudesons, which are like the Finnish jackass, and I loved them, and I love like the idea of Finland and Finnish culture, and they would say Satana as like a swear word, and it would mean Satan, and I like the idea of Satan in the sense of like Satan connected to like the earth, Satan as in free will of the people, and it has a million different meanings, and then Lee Rose is like Lee as in like le, like French for thee, and rose, so Satan the rose, and a rose is like beautiful, but it's also sharp and can prick you, so like the duality of that.
Oh, okay. Alright, I get it now. Because from what I've seen of a lot of your stuff, it's very edgy.
Yeah.
And it's very raw. And I go, oh, what does that actually mean? But I don't know. Sometimes I'm like, and I really got to think about it, because I don't know what's behind it or where it's coming from.
Yeah, sometimes I don't. Sometimes I don't even know what I'm doing. It's just there, or sometimes it's in me. I'm just like, ugh, here you go. It's in me. I've just got to get it out into the void.
Yeah, it's beautiful. So you've always been able to just spit it out or just put it out. Has there ever been a moment where you've held back and not said what you needed to say, or typed, or?
Yeah, a lot. I guess I'm constantly curating myself. At the moment, it's not necessarily out of fear of, say, like other people's interpretations or whatever, because I learnt really young that people are going to make of something, like, only be able to see something based on their own perceptions. Like, I can try as hard to have an intention for what I want people to think, see, feel, and hear, or how I want people to take me, but it will be just totally wasted, because I can't control that, never. So, wait, what was the question?
How did you discover that so young? I mean, seriously, I know that we're evolving as a human race, but I'm like 47.
Yeah.
And how old are you? 20?
24.
24, like, seriously? Like I was the most insecure, like I was a mother for the first time. But I really listened and was almost controlled by other people's opinions.
Yeah.
How, like, that's insane that you're so advanced in that.
Thank you. I've definitely gone through different phases of my life where it's fluctuated, and even daily within myself, sometimes I'll catch myself in those old patterns, and it's really like I've got to consciously just break out of it. But I guess from a young age, I've always been quite a polarizing person, and just without even meaning to. And I've also been constantly told by authority figures that I'm like attention seeking, or I'm or I'm manipulative, or that I'm doing things to get a reaction out of people. And in all honesty, I was just being myself. And if being myself was just inherently just rebellious to other people, well then so be it.
Yeah. But it's interesting because when I look at your face, and I do face reading, you're very balanced. Ooh. And I think, I don't know if I've said that to you before, but when you say the word polarizing, it means that it doesn't matter what you do, even if you're not speaking, you're going to attract a crowd. And I know that you dye your hair and you wear quite eccentric makeup and you wear colours that are bright. But I think even without all of that, you're polarizing anyway, like what you said when you were a child. And so you're naturally born with that.
Yeah, totally. I've also found that, I guess I also meant that word, I don't know if I'm using it correctly, in the sense of people have generally really liked me or really disliked and really hated me, or at least that's how they've expressed it to me. And again, from a really young age, and I've never been sure. In fact, my friend Trianda, who we've been friends since we were 10 years old, one time she said to me on the phone, she's like, I've actually never met someone who's been really genuinely loved by, like, she's like, people adore you, loved by so many people, but also I've never met someone who's just at the same time been actually hated by so many people, like bring out this raw rage or disdain in other people that has been just directed at me.
Well, really, I mean, when you look at the name you've chosen, Satan and then Rose, it's like you do play with the polar opposites within yourself, and so it means that you can go on the edge of both.
Yeah.
So you're probably going to attract and bring that up. And when you said the word polarizing, it could have been my misinterpretation, but what I saw was light, like just bright light.
Yeah.
More than anything. So, yeah. So what makes you tick?
What makes me tick?
Tahlia. What keeps you going? What makes you tick?
When I hear what makes me tick, it makes me think like what makes me mad, what don't I like, what makes me pissy, edgy.
That's a good interpretation.
Yeah, that's like what makes you tick. Because what makes you tick?
Well, look at both of them. Look at what makes you tick, as in from an angry, and then what makes you get up in the morning.
Oh, I like that. Okay, what makes me angry? At the moment, I feel like it is willful intolerance, and something that's been coming up a lot in my life is willful ignorance, I guess, and misogyny.
Yeah, wow.
Those things are like so, especially with the internet, people have a platform to say whatever they want, and you're just like, oh my goodness, do you realize who you are and how hateful you are, and particularly towards women? And I'm like, you hate women. And even seeing, say, in online scandals where multiple parties are involved, the ones that take a lot longer to recover, say from scandals, and even social scandals you see in social circles, are women. And I've known men have a lot more free reign to do whatever they want and to act how they want, and people will make excuses for it. And I see a lot of women, myself included, will just be totally persecuted for the same or similar behavior, or just for freely living. I feel like a lot of people just hate it.
Yeah.
Can't deal with it, can't handle it. And that's what makes me angry.
Does it bring out the rebel in you, and do you want to do something about it?
Completely.
Yeah.
Completely. I feel like I've had some, even in my own life, like things that were really unjust, and people who had taken advantage of me and displayed extremely predatory, disgusting behaviour, and everyone around them had protected them. And vilified, I think is the word I'm looking for, me in response to that. And a part of it is the reason I do what I do, and why, like, I guess what I post and stuff may come across as more edgy, because I feel like I've taken things that people have put at me and kind of worn it around my neck like a scarf, and taken things that have been used to hurt me and tried to own it, like, you're a slut, you're a bitch, you're a just all these nasty things, and be like, okay, yeah, if you want me to be that, I'll be that for you, but as a joke.
Yeah.
And just try to find my humour in it.
Yeah.
And I guess that what makes me get up and go as well.
Yeah, God. It's so fascinating, because really, I don't know how I'd cope. I don't know. I mean, maybe I wouldn't get up in the morning, but you do.
Yeah. Well, there are some times where I haven't wanted to, but I just feel like I have to. I just feel like whatever in me is too strong to stay contained, and I feel like I'm really lucky to be in the position that I'm in. I'm not white, but I'm white passing, and like, I haven't necessarily had the most privileged early life and upbringing, but compared to, say, people living, like women living in lesser developed countries and who are infinitely more oppressed than I am, it's honestly such a privilege that I get to do what I do and wear what I want and post what I want on the internet. And so to not live to my absolute truth and authenticity as best I can is like, it's almost like a misuse of that privilege.
Yeah.
And people say that it helps them. Like, I get messages from people saying that they felt inspired by something that I did or said, or that they liked it, or it'll encourage someone else to feel like they live their truth, and they think, oh, you did this, so I felt like I could get a bit funky with my own life, and that's what it's all about.
Yeah, that's amazing. You're so inspiring. We almost, in a way, we're doing the same thing but very differently.
Yeah, I feel that.
Yeah, there's some similarities.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of like this podcast in a way. I've had some feedback that said, oh my gosh, you're human, and you get angry and you get sad and you've had fear, and you used to wet your pants when you were a little girl, and it's like, I just want to normalize things and make it okay.
Yeah, completely. I feel like that's something as well that's kept a lot of people tied down, is looking at things as taboo. And I guess going back to talking about people acting in predatory behaviours, that's what keeps that cycle going, is because you don't want to talk about the bad things that have happened to you or around you, and you just kind of want to keep moving. But that protects people that continue to behave that way, and that's why these systems are in place, and why people can keep doing the thing, like acting really awfully, because people aren't talking about it. But I feel like that's changing a lot. Like, there's so many wonderful people who are advocating for just like safety and equality, and they're loud, and they're like seemingly aggressive, when really they're just asserting themselves and they're asserting their place in the world. And if you see that, like, someone wanting to be safe as being aggressive, then like you should really take a good hard look at yourself.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, awesome. Okay, what do you hide?
Everything.
Yeah, let's have a drink over that.
I guess the first thing that comes to mind is my vulnerability. I am so scared of being vulnerable, because every time I have truly felt vulnerable, it's been taken advantage of.
Yeah.
And it scares me to be seen for me, which I suppose is one of the reasons why, well, I guess it just does come naturally, but why I put on a show, and why I'm just, it's almost like a smoke screen for what's a lot deeper, and why I'll laugh through the pain.
Yeah.
Because it's just hiding it.
Yeah. It's interesting, because as I sit here and I look into your eyes, and it's almost like I don't see the makeup and the colour and the tattoos, I can just see into you.
Ooh.
No, but it's like, it's like I see a reflection of me, just woman, just female, just, you know, it's like we've got different stories, we've walked different paths, but in essence we're the same on the inside, you know, and it's really beautiful and it's humbling.
Oh, that's lovely.
Yeah. Yeah. And the hiding of our vulnerability, hey? So, how does that go with love?
I have an interesting relationship with love. I realised that I have never been in an exclusive relationship with anyone that hasn't abused me.
Yeah.
And I've never been in an exclusive relationship with anyone that hasn't cheated on me ever in my life. And I'm laughing about it now, but and surely it's not really. Well, actually, I don't know how common that is for someone to ever have. And at the moment, I've just been really intentionally turning that in on myself and seeing where that comes from, like what part of me needs to keep going through these really painful experiences and honestly really terrifying experiences. It took a relationship where my partner nearly killed me, and I was like, maybe this should actually never happen again. And I remember thinking that I do not want to be a part of a statistic, and what in me really needs to change before, like, so this never happens again. And that's just turning myself in and I guess working on liking myself and loving myself and what that means. Because growing up, I never felt love without conditions.
Yeah.
And there was always conditions based on the love I was given, and a lot of times, and that was only because who was giving me the love, they were doing the best with what they knew how to do. Or it was given in a way that I was manipulated, or it was like, I did this for you, so now you owe me this. And it really just warped the way I viewed that, and there was very little times as a child where I felt safe emotionally and also physically.
Yeah.
So I've just constantly recreated that throughout my life. So right at the moment, it's really interesting trying to find a place of security and stability in myself just from scratch.
Yeah. Have you got relationships that show you love? Friendships?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So there's a good starting point,
Yeah, totally. I found that I'm working on feeling more comfortable when I'm shown kindness and love.
Yeah.
Because it feels foreign and I feel mistrusting of it.
Yeah.
And it makes me nervous.
I can feel that too, because when I say a compliment, you take the compliment, but then there's this big fog in between us, and it's like, okay.
Yeah. I think even when we came down to the what was it called, where the art gallery is?
Oh, Queenscliff, yeah.
Yeah, when we saw you in Queenscliff, and I remember you gave me so many compliments on the radio that you listened to my show, and I thought, wow, that's so lovely. And I think me and Amy went to get something from the car, and my thought was, I remember like just acknowledging that my instant response within me is like, no, I'm not good at that. And just really bring myself down a couple pegs. And then I thought like, that this is something I want to do for a living and make a life out of, and something that I love. Like, why am I telling myself I'm not good at something that I really want to succeed in?
Yeah.
And like how do I expect to succeed in something that I keep telling myself I'm not good at? It doesn't make sense. So really taking little steps to not do that.
Do you really feel you're not good at it though? Do you, really on the inside, like if you go really deep down into it, like, what are you really good at? Like, I can see and I can feel what you're really good at.
I guess I gauge on other people's reactions. I wouldn't get the praise that I do if I wasn't good at it. So based on other people's reactions, I know that I'm good at the things that I do. But internally, I guess my core beliefs, I feel like I suck, and I feel like I'm a piece of shit, and I feel like I'm not good at anything.
Okay.
But I know that I am. But I feel like I'm not.
Okay. Okay. So the therapist in me is like, oh, there's a doorway. And then it's like, no, that's not a doorway. And so there's this, yeah, I know, but there's this hat where I'm going, no, that's not the forum. Stay here.
Mm.
You know? So it's really interesting where I go with that because, and I do get it. I do get it because there's a moment in time where all of a sudden you go, oh my gosh, I feel that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm actually really good at this. And we do have to get it from other humans, and we do have to get it from feedback, because that feedback then bounces off our skin and we go, oh my gosh, I'm actually making a difference.
Yeah.
And the other thing that I've learned too is that it's the simplicity and the realness of you or of me and whatever we do is what people love, really, more than the entertainment. And I know that we can colour it with our tongue and we can make the words, you know, drag a little bit longer, and we can throw some oomph into our words and what we're saying or what we're expressing, and that's all part of the fun. But it's really the authenticity and the truth.
Yeah, completely. Yeah, I've always admired that as well in other people's work, and I've speak about that a bit on my radio show, when I really genuinely admire or love an artist's work or their performance, and I always relate it back to the authenticity or the artistic integrity or how genuine it seems, because I feel like people can tell what is and isn't genuine, and you're drawn to it and you're really attracted to it.
Yeah. I have this, because I'm doing a thing on cells at the moment for Amy, actually, part of her training, but I've got this thing where, like, I look at the cell as the centre and the centre and the centre of us, and then I imagine that the cell is full of gold dust, but the cell can also be full of starved toxic cells as well. And so my journey into consciousness is to make every one of those gold dust, and then if every one of those was gold dust, then all of a sudden I would be worthy, and my opinion would be worth something. It wouldn't be just 5 cents, it'd actually be worth $1 million. And I think that that's the difference, because it's like when you can actually capture somebody with your opinion or with what you're saying or what you're putting out there, then they're buying it, aren't they? They're feeling you and they're on the same track as you. Yeah?
Yeah.
And that's in a way, that's what I've learned recently, is to have value, and I'm realizing my value.
Yeah, that's so important.
Well, yeah, I kind of used to throw around the word and not really understand what it meant, but then I went, okay, now I'm understanding value. Yeah, and it's being real. All right, my love, what do you defend?
Myself. I feel like I defend what's vulnerable. I defend my friends. I defend myself when I catch myself in the moment and realize what's happening is that I need to be defended. My integrity. But above all else, what's vulnerable?
Yeah, that's a big one for you,
Yeah, I haven't thought about it heaps until now. But I guess I've been told by other people that I'm a strong person, and I do try to, I just try to defend my friends and myself and things that I feel are good and right.
So do you think the strength is to protect the vulnerability? Yeah.
Yeah.
It's kind of so going back to love and men in your life, it's kind of, I suppose, to open up to that man that's going to hold you in your vulnerability. What sort of men are you attracting right now? Do you have a type?
I guess so. I've just tried to shut myself off, in a sense, because I've noticed that I was attracting the same type of people, and I needed to shut myself off from that, I guess, and shut everyone down in order to try and analyze myself and heal myself and be like, instead of seeking a sense of safety and security in someone else, which I never thought I did, because I'd always I guess prided myself on being so fiercely independent.
Yeah.
And then to realize, actually, no, I'm seeking safety and security in other people. That isn't good, and try to find that within myself. The type of men I attract. Liars. Men, I've noticed, I guess, men that lie a lot. Men that recreate my childhood.
Oh, really?
Yeah, men that make me feel the way I did in my childhood. I'll find people who become really infatuated with me initially, and then love the strengths that they see in me, and then but then feel really, really threatened by that. And sometimes jealous because they can't stand in their power and they can't live their truth. And even I remember having a conversation with an ex about how I was so fascinated by everything that he did. He was like, oh, I'm doing this music thing, I'm doing this other thing, and I would always want to hear about it. And one day I was like, why do you never ask me about what I do? Like, it's cool to do radio and I have fun doing it and other people like it, but you never ask me about it, you never care about it, you never think about it. And that upset me. But I just highlighted, like in my head, I just thought of something that like a trend that's something everyone kind of has in common, and I just lost it. I guess people that make me feel that I've just noticed that a lot of people try to make me feel small, and a lot of people have just tried to hurt me or see this light and like want to steal it. I feel very taken from. Recently that's coming to the surface when I'll have my breakdowns and I cry and I just feel so empty, because I feel like, and even by so many friends that I've had, and I've noticed my friendship circles, when I really look at them, how much smaller they are when I really look at them, just because I feel like people just see this shiny thing and they just want to take and they take and they take from it, and I didn't have the coping mechanisms or the strategies to protect myself from that, so that I would just be taken from and taken from and taken from. And I look at myself in videos from between 2016, 2017 and a little of 2018, where I just looked like I had a much brighter spark and I looked so much more alive, and I just feel so dead inside compared to then. And it just made me sad how much I let myself get taken advantage of and taken from, until I was just so broken down. And even though to other people it might seem like, oh, she just bounced back so quick, she's totally fine, there's nothing wrong, everything's good, I just even just looking in videos, I just noticed such a huge difference.
Yeah.
And it's only a matter of time before it's like built up again, and I've learnt from that, but it's like, oh my god.
Yeah, because it's like they're taking your sweetness.
Yeah.
And your candy.
Yeah.
And yet in a way, if they're taking your sweetness and the candy, it's there for them to take. So somewhere there, it's like, you've got to be the sweetness and candy, but make a big boundary around it too. And that doesn't mean not allowing love in. You know, one thing that I did learn is the type that I was chasing most of my life was not the type that I needed.
Yeah.
And then when I actually met Tommy, it was like, I still was like, oh no, he's not for me. You know, he's not my type, blah, 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 blah. And for years throughout our relationship, you know, I'm trying to pull it apart, make things wrong with it. And then one day I woke up and I thought, I have felt the safest I've felt in my whole life. I've felt more love than I've ever felt in my life. He's not asking anything of me and I can blossom like a rose. And I was like, oh my God, that's what a partnership is. And yet I had stars in my eyes looking for that great man who, in my eyes, was achieving all these things. But what I hear in your story is when I was chasing those great men, I was just nothing.
Yeah.
I just was nothing to them, really. And yeah, I wanted to be something.
Yeah.
To them. So I hear you. Is that how I interpreted it? Did I interpret it right?
That's pretty. Yeah, that's a tried and true narrative. I just remember what I was saying. The thing they all
there
had
you
in common.
go.
They're musicians. They're all musicians.
Oh no, that's what you forgot.
Yeah. I'm gonna try to forget it. That's quite a true narrative. I found one of my friends, the words that he used to describe the type of people that I'm attracted to is he's like the loudest dickhead in the room. And he's like, you're just drawn to the loudest person in the room. And I said that I guess I just see that as I mistake it for charisma.
Yeah.
When someone is just incredibly cocky, and I used to not see that at the time, and I feel like it's changing. I did recently not try to pursue someone, but someone came to me who I didn't at first. I thought that's not really the type of person who I would normally go for, and at first I was like, no, we'll just be mates. And then they didn't want to just be mates, and I was like, maybe this is a good thing, because at first, I wasn't drawn to you at first, like glue the same way that I am to other people, and that didn't. I don't know what's happening with that right now either. So I don't want to say that I'm a lost cause, but right now it's like I'm just like in the going with it.
Oh, but we're just coming out of COVID as well, and it's funny how this whole podcast is going down the line of your love life, which is really interesting.
Oh my god, I feel so exposed.
So funny. So I'm like, okay, well, what do you want your viewers to know? What sort of man are you looking for? Well,
I don't know.
Someone that'll love and treat you well.
Yeah, I don't. Oh, I'm all tongue-tied now. A part of me is like, I'm not looking for anyone. And then, which I guess I'm not. I'm really trying to focus on just myself and my goals, my own attributions. But, and I don't ever really feel like that. Oh, I just want someone to love me in that sense. But the times where I've never really been like that, and then when it has come into my life, I've been like, yeah, this is great. Like this is, and they've always ended up, I guess, abusing me or just been not that great.
So why is the mummer in me wanting to fix it or put this nice little cushion of love around there? Because it's true.
Makes you feel nice.
It's true. Because it's like, I can see that you're career driven and you're doing what you're doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is nice to know that someone loves you and to feel that love and security. And in a way, I guess I would see that as like almost like an accomplishment in my personal development, to see that, okay, I'm capable of that, because I don't feel that so much now at all, but I would see that previously as like, what the hell is wrong with me if everyone I attract is so awful to me or vicious to me or treats me in this same sort of way. Like I remember once one of my parents said to me, like, they were in a particularly nasty mood, and they pointed out all these things that, like, personal relationships that had gone horribly wrong in my life, and said, what's the common denominator? It's you.
Oh.
And it really hurt me, and I just thought, you're being a dick at the time, but it still stuck with me, and it still took a while to purge that belief from me and know that that's just how you feel about yourself.
Yeah, exactly. Oh wow, Thalia. All right, so the love question. What do you love? What do you love in life?
Myself. I feel like it sounds corny, but I love art. I feel like art is like an essential building block of life. I love art. I love party. I love to party, and I guess I love love, because everything comes from love. Art comes from love. Party comes from love, and like the friendship and the fun that you have with other people or with yourself is just love. Is that corny if I say I love love?
No, not at all. And I get the whole thing about art as well, because I feel like for me, and all types of art, and I've noticed through COVID how much I've missed. Even though I do my own art, but I've missed culture and music and qualities that the arts industry is really, it hasn't had it really nicely at all through this lockdown, and I'm really sad about that, because I realise the importance of creativity and artistic, you know, in anything. Yeah, no, I get that, absolutely. And I see you as an artist as well.
Oh, thank you.
Don't you?
Yeah, I guess I've always seen myself, I've used the word entertainer, but they're interchangeable. An artist is an entertainer and an entertainer is an artist.
Yeah. All right. Who do you want to be when you grow up?
Oh, I love that. I feel like I'd like to be someone that I can call completely without any of the ties of the past and any of just the labels that have been slapped on me, just purely, authentically, genuinely me. Because even now, I feel like I'm so close, and I just feel like I would just love to be me and feel free, and the freedom to do what I want, when I want. If I want to travel, if I want to create, if I want to experience something, it's there, and I can freely do it and move into it without, I guess, the ties of the past, and without feeling deep heartbreak and wounds. And I guess that they're important to be there and feel, but without them being paralyzing or crippling. I don't, it's not nice to feel completely heartbroken for so long.
Yeah.
So I just want to feel free, and I want to feel me.
Yeah. Yeah, wow. So it sounds like your wounds are still very much there with you.
They're coming to the surface in a really deep big way at the moment, and a lot of them are coming to the surface to be released and worked through, and I feel like gently untying the knots and unraveling the wool, and as I've been doing that, I felt this desire to be and go to a much bigger place and a much better place, and to do everything I'm doing but on a bigger and better level. And if that desire is so big and so strong, that means it's getting closer, and it feels real.
Yeah. And often artists use their wounds as the accelerator.
Yeah, complete. I wouldn't be able to be who I am or do what I do without it. And even just on a friendship level and in my interpersonal relationships, I wouldn't be able to help my friends in the way that I do without having to go through horror shows of things.
Yeah, wow. All right, so who are you? Back, we'll start from the beginning.
Yeah.
Who are you? Now that you've said all of that and you connect with yourself, who are you?
I guess you said it. I'm an artist. I really am. I'm an artist who just wants to be free.
Yeah, beautiful.
It's hard not to try and backtrack and try to kneecap that statement.
It is. Yeah, it is. But it's like by saying that statement, it's like that's what you're moving into.
Yeah. Completely.
Yeah. So, you have a radio show. What's your radio show?
So I did in February. I had Emo to the Extremo on Triple R, which was a weekly show, and now I'm back to doing the Graveyard Shift on 3RRR 102.7 FM. Sporadically, whenever I announce it on my Instagram at Saatanaleerose, and I'm also a DJ who, when everything is back open, really like to just be booked and do some gigs. And I'm also an actor who just really like to get back into that. So after this is over, or maybe even now, I'm looking at seeing who wants to help me just perform my heart out.
Yay. All right. So I feel like I want to ask you, do you have a message for all the young women out there who may be, I don't know, a word of courage, a word of advice? Have you got something to say
Yeah.
for the young women?
I guess it sounds corny, but be yourself, whatever you feel drawn to, whatever you want to do to succeed or be. Everything I've ever done in my life, whether that's the way I look or the career paths I've chosen, I've in a way had to fight it, and there's always been so many people and people that I loved and respected that have told me not to do what I've done, but when I've done exactly what I've wanted to do, it's always went well, it's always gone in my favor, I've always been happy. So ultimately, fuck what anyone has to say to you. If it doesn't resonate with you, ignore it, disregard it, it doesn't matter. And most importantly, let go of the need to be liked. Let go of feeling like people have to like you. If someone's doing something that you don't like or that doesn't sit well with you, tell them to fuck off. Tell them to leave you alone. Move yourself away. You're in control of how people treat you entirely, and it doesn't make other people's actions right, or it doesn't mean what they're doing is valid. But you, at the end of the day, you're the one creating the culture around you, and to just be strong.
Yeah, beautiful. All right, and what do you want to say to the young men out there?
Stop. Get help. It's okay to be soft, and most importantly, reflect on yourself, and reflect on yourself through the lens of others. I feel like not enough young men seek therapy, and the ones that do, I don't know if they're necessarily honest with their therapists, and also to break away from the crowd, because especially because I'm exposed to, I guess, the music scene, the entertainment industry, it is unbelievably toxic, and a lot of people are doing quite performative feminism, saying one thing and doing another, or not really knowing just how much they're partaking in toxic behavior. So I spoke to someone the other day who they gave the whole, oh well, it's not all men. I made a comment which wasn't true. I said and I was in my feelings about it, and I was like, yeah, well, most men are predatory, and I was talking about like an incident that happened to me. I said most of these men are predatory, and she said no, it's just some. And I was like, yeah, but, and well, that is true, it is just some. It's most of them that aren't saying anything and that aren't doing anything. And if someone is any way predatory or disrespectful or treats anyone else, doesn't have to be women, treats anyone as less than, show them that you don't accept that and you don't tolerate that by breaking away from it. Cut people off. Don't be afraid to show people that their actions do have consequences, because that's the only way that any change is going to happen. And if you're not showing people that their shitty actions have consequences, you are a part of the problem just as much as you don't think you want to be.
Yeah. Wow, awesome. All right, so there's one more group that I think you need to say something to, and that would be authority figures.
Okay. Authority figures, wow. Like the government?
Or the adults
teachers.
or the old people in the world.
Yeah.
From a young person. I think this is important, and the reason that dropped in for me is we have to, all right, what am I, 47 or something? You have a valuable opinion. Do you know what I mean?
Thank you.
It's a valuable opinion, and I think that it needs to be heard. And so what do you want to say to the older people or the authority figures, or it could be the government, or it could be police, or it could be a teacher, or it could be just your mum and dad, or it could be, do you know what I mean?
Yeah. I feel like the most valuable thing I can say is listen and be flexible and be changeable and soft, because the only a valuable authority figure is someone that can guide someone and support them and nurture them. But you can't guide and support and nurture someone unless you listen to, everyone has individual needs, unless you listen to them. and unless you're changeable and flexible, because if we've seen, even as a society, we can't keep running the same exact way we've always gone. And parents of multiple kids with age gaps would know, like, raising your eldest is so different to raising your youngest, and you had to change and you had to be flexible. Even me as a sibling, I look at my younger siblings and I'm like, wow, their lives are so different compared to mine. So be adaptable, be flexible, changing and accepting.
Yeah, beautiful. Nice. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. You're the best. Until next time, bye for now.